This is the Mountainside Podcast, and joining us in studio is my friend Andrew Arrabito. He's the founder and creator and artist behind Half Face Blades, Warpaw Wines, Canoe Club. He's been a collaborator with DEFCON Group and so many more. But above all that, I always enjoy any time that I get to spend with Beto. It was great having him in studio, and I hope that you enjoy our conversation. Here, man, it was super awesome going to your shop.
Yeah, that first time.
The first time was a barn burner.
We're starting out.
Yeah.
You know, when was that?
God, dude. It was early on,
It was before COVID, or right?
It wasn't
1920 maybe?
Because we started, it had to be after COVID.
Right after us.
Yeah, it was early on. I
started.
think it was episode 40 something or something like that.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
Yeah. I kind of took the premise for the name too, because you were half face and mountainside and that kind of whole premise, dude. So you've been I've known about you long before, or known you honestly before the podcast even really started.
Yeah,
which is dope, through mutual friends and whatnot. But dude, tell me, business wise, it just shocks me, because I've seen your growth from the backyard.
Yeah.
I think is maybe when I had that first crow made.
That's old school. That's what probably this is the original crow. It's a second gen crow junior. Okay. It's probably 2016, maybe end of 2016.
Dude, I love that one more than anything. Cool, I think that might have been my first one. Yeah. And just the little imperfections, there's
cool. There's no choil.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's rad, dude.
Super rad.
It's crazy, the OG originals, just that. Even though the secondary market, just economy-wise, is down a little bit right now, it's wild how much, the value.
Oh, they just hold their value.
It's wild.
It was cool. I had my son in here yesterday because I don't think I've ever pulled everything that you've made for me and had it in one spot. And I was thinking today, I still don't. I got a couple chef knives at home. I got... the TSA flathead and stuff. It's I can not buy it, dude. I love the blade porn. I love looking at what you made, even if I'm not going to buy something, It's
every week, it's we're working on cool stuff and we'll come up with something new and different. And that's what's tough in-house. I look back on all the stuff we've done and I'm like, what can we do different and new? And it's a challenge. And then we figure it out and we'll come up with something new, different. And everybody's like, that's nuts. How'd you think of that one? I have such a great crew and great team that work together. And one of my guys just the other day was like, hey, check this out. And he was working on a scale, and how he built the scale was just different than we've ever done before. And I was like, that's what I like to see. The creativity, and letting guys be creative just comes up with new stuff.
There's so much creativity in it. Every one of these is a piece of art. And it's funny, anytime that I meet somebody that hasn't heard of Half Face Blades, and early on it was a ton of people, but now people are like, oh yeah, I got one,
or I'm surprised sometimes. They're like, oh, I've never heard of that. And I'm like, we've got pretty good reach. I don't do much advertising, and I'm not buy one, get one free, those other companies out there, knife companies, but I'm that's also why they hold their value. You know what I mean?
But it's, just looking at them, they're works of art, man. They really are. They're the creativity that goes into them, and the handles and the personalization. But not only that, the functionality.
Right. That's first and foremost what I wanted. We make fun stuff and swords and shit like that too. But it was one, I want super good quality and functionality first. So it's always, gonna be useful and good and do its job in the right hands. And then it was okay, well, I can make them as simple with a normal production bolt-on grip to as extravagant and interesting and wild as well. But at the end of the day, it's still going to work. You know what I mean?
Totally works, man. We actually, that crow scalper I just purchased recently. Yeah. Because I gave away... I had a Crow Junior. Those are my hunt knives, the utility knives.
The Featherlight.
We used that on that Bison past weekend. So there's might be some blood and that Skinner.
Yeah,
too.
Full size Skinner.
The Hunter Skinner, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that, dude.
So badass. Dude, that bison on the neck,
Yeah.
the skin, the hide.
Yeah.
Not just the hide, like not including the hair.
Right.
2 inches thick, bro.
That's wild.
Is unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah, we killed a big bison like beginning of this. Actually, it was maybe it was December last year. Time flies, but you know, there's always parts of an animal that's like super easy to skin off, and you're like, oh, this is easy, and then you get to parts like neck, or there's some parts like back here in the hindquarters.
Oh
that,
my God.
You're like little bit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then if you're gonna cape the head, then you're pulling out that nice little tip, you know, just in there like.
Yeah, we
if
did
you
the
gotta do
first
antlers.
day all stones, and we were sitting
Yeah.
around the fire that night, and I said, I have 2 really nice half-face blades,
Yeah.
and I got to get the fuck out of here tomorrow. So
Yeah.
that's how we're going to cape that bad
I'm gonna
boy
get my
out.
tenderloins and leave.
100%, dude. So
I need to send Donnie a knife. You know, when I get back, I'll send him some.
so when we went and did, this was the second bison that I did, and I was super bummed you couldn't make it, dude. Like, but we'll do it again, man, for sure. This is like, it's one of the most humbling experiences I've ever done in my life.
Yeah.
Like picking up that piece of stone,
Yeah.
and just starting from scratch is
Yeah,
fucking.
Especially the initial cutting of the hide. Once you're in there and you're cutting meat, you're like, oh, it's, you know, a little bit easier. But hide is so tough. People, you know, even with the best steel, and, you know, I use really high-end steel, if you don't know how to skin an animal, you dull your knife halfway
it's
through.
super fast.
And you have to go, you know, you have to make your incision. You have to go from inside out.
Yeah,
Like,
the hair dulls the fuck out of it.
It's insane, man, how bad it
The
gets.
coolest thing is I'm shocked at how effective these fucking rocks are, dude.
Yeah.
Like, and it's honestly not the serrated ones like that look all
Yeah.
beautiful, you know? Like, this is pretty cool. This is from the first bison, like this obsidian.
That's a cool piece.
But I cut the heart out with that one
Yeah.
and that Crow Junior. But anyways, I ended up giving Donnie that Crow Junior after
Yeah.
that.
Oh, cool.
Like, yeah, so he's got one.
Dope. Okay.
But these are the jam right here. So
Yeah.
you just break off a flake.
Right, and you get a long, really sharp single edge.
I mean, feel how sharp that is.
Yeah.
And I use the shit out of that. I mean,
Yeah.
there's still meat and stuff on it, but like
yeah,
for skinning and stuff, it's actually really effective. The hard part is there's not much to hang on to, you know? So when I was
like-
breaking stone, it was like those back, if you leave this back face on.
yeah.
But even then, like I cut my thumb last weekend just by accident, you know, it's like there's
My
nothing
brothers
to
were
hold
big.
on to.
My older brothers and I, growing up, they were really big into Native American culture and primitive living skills, and that's where I started out. You know, I have stacks of arrowheads my brothers made
So
when they were little,
awesome.
and they were like, you know, when they were probably 10 to 13, they were just huge into it. Snares, we'd go out and snare animals. We'd be, you know, they'd be sitting there with their, use like a huge nail, and you're like chipping your own arrowheads and like using rocks. And there's a little place up in Napa Valley, up in St. Helena, called Glass Mountain. It's a little mountain on the east side of the valley there, outside of St. Helena, and the entire mountain, and it's like more like a hill. The entire hill is obsidian. So the Native Americans there used to go and collect it and travel all over California and trade with obsidian all over California. And it's one little mountain called Glass Mountain. And like you can little park, walk up to where the hill starts, and like brush all the leaves away and just find chunks all day.
That
Like,
is
we have chunks
badass.
this big from I'm a kid at my mom's house just from us finding
Have you been
chunks.
back there at all? Or
Yeah,
is it-
I go.
Yeah, that's fucking
Literally,
awesome.
you're driving to go eat breakfast in St. Helena, and you can pull by Glass Mountain. There's 2 roads on either side of it. There's 3. There's Silverado Trails on the far side, and get out and walk over to where it's flat to hill, and like sweep it away and just find little chunks to big chunks. It's insane.
We honestly, I found, because it's so fragile and it's so sharp,
Yeah,
like when you start cutting and stuff, like little chunks of it will come off, and then
Yeah.
the next thing you know, you have a glass shard in your fucking
right. Stuck in your hand,
in your
I
back
remember
strap
cutting
or
myself.
whatever. You know,
Yeah.
like
Oh,
you
yeah.
don't want to eat that shit,
Yeah.
dude. It's like eating a piece of glass. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. So you gotta kind of be careful, man. But yeah, it's super rad. And it was funny this past weekend. I mean, you know this sound, dude, with as much shit as you've killed, dude. Like, especially in this past year, man.
guys
You've
shoot
been
it?
hunting.
Did you guys shoot it? Maybe they should have. You should have made your own spearheads, and then everybody had to spear that
my
thing,
God,
dude.
Well, it's crazy. That ranch is so badass.
Yeah.
Like, Jim, the owner of it, Jim and Julie, dude, they care about those animals so much.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. When they put it down, Jim wants It's only him.
Yeah.
And he loves it because they sell like meat to the door. So it's Eagle's Wing Ranch.
Yeah.
So you can order a box of meat and then they'll ship it right to your house. But, you know, the bison, they're in this beautiful valley surrounded by mountains, but they don't have the full operation there. Like they're not butchering on the ranch. Right. So they have to load these bison onto trailers and then they go down to like a slaughterhouse, right?
Yeah,
and
they have these, it's wild because in America, they have specific places where they could get butchered, and they don't let people butcher it and sell it yourself so the government can make money.
Because of the FDA or some shit? Oh,
so it has to be an FDA-approved facility. And so you lose out on a lot of the money you would make growing.
You probably have to have all kinds of stupid insurance.
It's insane. So it has to go from, you grow it, and then there's certain weight limits, at least for like pigs and stuff like that, because they don't want people, you know, stuff feeding their pigs. So it's like your animal goes to the butcher. You're paying for that to be done. Then it's getting packaged with your logo on it. Then you can sell it.
Right.
So you can't do all of it. They won't let you do all of it yourself.
That's so dumb, man.
Yeah.
I mean, for them, this is really cool. Like, you know, purchasing that bison.
Yeah.
That meant so much to Jim. And we took everything, dude. There was guys like spraying out the intestines so they could make bowstrings. And like,
that's cool.
You know, the liver was the size of a
insane.
120 quart Yeti cooler.
I know.
It was like, fuck.
I almost hiked when I killed my moose. Was last year before last. Like I pulled that liver out, and it was 35-pound liver,
dude. And it's like a water weenie.
I was hiking that out. It took 3.5 days to hike that moose out, and I was just like, I'm leaving this for the bears, the liver. But I've taken livers from my elk, and I pulled actually half a liver out or chunk of liver out maybe a month ago, and I was like, cut it up, and I was like, that's pretty strong smelling. And I like fried it, and then I ate it, and I was like, that's really too much.
Yeah.
I was like, the way to do it would be take that liver and grind it up, mix it with some other meat. Like a
powder?
I would just grind it up, mix it with some ground elk, and then season it up, put onions in it, and then take that and put it in like puff pastry and make little puff pastry and then bake it. And make little,
awesome,
that's the way to do it because it's pretty strong, dude.
Yeah. No, it is. I mean, we did some raw liver.
Yeah.
The most impressive thing from this past weekend is we did raw bone marrow. So Donnie just busted open like a femur bone, you know?
And just scoop it out.
And they just scoop it out, and it was fucking incredible, dude.
Huh?
Incredible.
Never done it raw.
Yeah, and I felt like I was ready to run the goddamn mountain after that, too, that morning, dude. There's something like primal about that, right? Like,
that, and then I've seen guys take, and I've seen them doing fish and stuff, too, but like where the kneecap is, where the joint is, there's like a little clear, like little jelly thing, and I've seen them, they scoop that and eat that.
Yeah, in the bone marrow, there's that same sort of jelly, dude. Yeah. And it's kind of like, at first I was like, fuck, dude, this is like, this is all man, right? And then you taste it and you're like, fuck, dude, it's better raw than it is cooked. Because I've had bone marrow, you know, where they bring it to you like in a slab and it's fucking $500 for a fucking...
Sprinkling truffle salt on it.
Yeah. But just the raw bone marrow, dude, it was that's good breakfast, dude.
Yeah. Did someone take like brains and stuff like that?
So they did a coin toss for the head.
Yeah,
and
that's cool.
I was unfortunately, dude, my luck with gambling is just fucked.
Bad.
You know, it's just not good, dude.
Someone got the skull, huge skull now.
Yeah. So and then they divided the hide up into pieces, and you know, between 8 people, I mean, I guarantee you there was probably 800 to 900 pounds of meat on that thing,
dude.
like just flank and
right. Well, I mean, if you guys cleaned out like the neck meat,
dude,
there's 100 pounds of neck meat. You know what I mean? That's insane the amount of neck meat. Like on a moose, I mean, there's all these. They have because they battle, right?
Yeah.
They battle with their heads. Like there's these. It looks like a tenderloin. These round, huge muscles, and there's like 3 or 4 muscles. It's just. I mean, they're like this big around.
And there's so much flank too, dude.
Yeah.
Like just.
Oh yeah.
It's just layers and layers and layers. It's unbelievable.
Let's grind all that.
But the ranchers there really enjoy it because it's that personal connection. We're using all of it. It's kind of back to that like primitive mindset. Right. And they get a moment with the animal, you know what I mean? It's not like these things are almost domesticated, you know? When he shot the bison that morning, he was like ran out, like, hey, what's up, buddy? And then
coming in to eat.
Right.
Right.
So, but it's a cool connection, man. You
100%.
Definitely got to come out and do it at some point.
I'm down.
Yeah.
It'd be really cool to be able to do that. I'll talk to Donnie. Like,
it's fun just hanging out with Donnie, dude.
I'd like to set something like that up private for my guys in my shop.
Yes.
You know what I mean? To be like,
Yeah.
hey, whether I can find a place in California or even honestly, what I like to do, and I talk about it every year. And what's cool is what I've been doing for my guys every year is getting them out like on fishing trips and hunting, guys in my shop, so they can like see how it's done. A lot of guys haven't hunted, and some guys have fished, but it's really good that they're making knives. The guys are making skinning knives. I'm like, okay, let's get out and use them. So that's kind of a goal. This coming year is to do more of that for the guys in my shop and get them like using all the knives how they would be used. Like I've been an end user forever, but some of my guys haven't. So I think even taking them, buying a whole cow somewhere and just being like, okay, we're going to spend all day I'm going to put knives in your guys' hands. I'm going to show you how to skin, cape, butcher it out. I'll show you the different sections of meat and what it's called and how to do that. And, and then all the guys can get
the ground truth, man.
Right.
That's where it's at. It's like until you've done that. And there's something so satisfying about it too. Like one of those sounds, and Donnie and I were talking about this weekend over the fire, like after that day, there's something primitive about that sound of when you're taking hide or skinning it out, like that
fleshing. Dude.
Yeah. Just cutting all that webbing, it's like, it just makes me like happy.
Or like breaking, joints, like cracking of joints.
Yeah. But even like just that, it's like there's something that just puts a smile on my face. Like even right now, like I don't know what it is, but
it's probably you could eat a big old steak later.
Oh my God, dude. So good. The meat is unbelievable, man.
Yeah, I have
unbelievable.
a bunch of bison in my freezer right now.
No, but I think that would be awesome to do with your guys too, because like maybe do the first half of it with just stone. Because there's some learning in that.
To teach them.
Like, here you go.
I should start them out with knives. It's a little easier, and then we'll jump to stone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The thing is, like at the end of the day, like it's fun to do it with stone because they're learning, like, I guess it's a skill, but we've advanced in technology, right? Like people aren't going to war with bow and arrows anymore.
Right.
But that's what they had then. So it's nice that our technology has become metal, and guns, and so it's much easier now.
It's way easier
with a nice sharp knife.
Yeah, hell yeah. I just like a good challenge,
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing.
You gotta do it with your hands then.
Yeah, but to literally like at-ladle one,
right?
You know what I mean?
You gotta stick that thing with, how many? You gotta think back in the day, and natives on horseback and spearing those things, and those they're going after. I don't know how many they kill at a time. Depends on how many guys on horseback there were, but like how many arrows is a big bull gonna take, and how many spears are stuck in this 2,000-pound bull running around.
Well, I told Donnie this weekend,
angry bull.
I was like, I think I would hunt smaller bison if
I'd be going for the babies.
Yeah. But then he brought up a good point too. He's like, well, think about the predators that were around too. Then you're in a hurry.
Wolves and coyotes would just follow those bison herds.
Oh, I'm sure. Waiting.
Look how bad it is. Where Colorado, wherever those people are, they want to, bring wolves in, and they keep letting them go, and then the wolves die. And it's like. Wolves are so smart. Bears do it too. In the spring, when the cows are calving, they choose like south-facing slopes because it gets sun in the morning and all day, right? So the calves have a better chance of living. The bears know it. The wolves know it, and they'll just hang out in those south-facing slopes and slaughter every elk baby that comes out.
Oh, I know. It happens here. That's why Colorado's like giving away bear tags, basically.
Yeah.
Because they can't manage
Bears know it.
It's crazy. I hunt on some private over here, so there's not a whole lot of like human interaction with the animals, and they're habituated. So if they know that humans like really aren't a threat.
Right.
So there's a bear that comes in and he'll like sit. You know how like healers or Malinois kind of sit like on the side of their ass, like a human, a little bit. Hip. Yeah. And he'll come in and sit on his haunches and just watch me field dress, and I'm always like, "Fuck,
just
dude."
waiting.
He's just waiting to get on the gun.
I always get it. Whenever there's a bear tag available, when I go elk hunting, I always add a bear tag. Same in Alaska. It's like you're gonna see so many bears, and it's worth it.
Yeah, it's crazy,
taking a few predators out of the.
We got all kinds of bad politics going on here in the state right now. Don't even get me started with the whole mountain lion, hunting ban and shit.
There's so many mountain lions. They crush elk and mule deer and whitetail. Like those.
They're so effective predators, dude.
Amazing predators.
Yeah.
Such
badass animals, but like to not hunt them is not a good idea, dude.
It's insane. They're not endangered.
No, there's more mountain lions now than I think there was like 150 years ago or something.
It's
wild. Like the population's thriving. Colorado Parks and Wildlife is doing a good job.
Yeah.
vote no on 127 because you're fucking up the whole ecosystem. Correct. It's not just about
you
the
can't ever
mountain
take that ecosystem back to how it was because of human population. So we have to judge the ecosystem now off of the human population. Okay, back in the day when there was wolves here, there was also way more elk here, and there was a few cities in all of Colorado, right, or a few towns. So because of the amount of population of humans, you have to judge it now. You can't be like, oh, you know what? We need the same amount of elk and wolves and bears and grizzly bears and wolverines as there was 100 years ago. Like, no. 100 years ago, there wasn't this many people either, right? Well, so we have to judge it correctly as of 2024 ecosystem, not 1924, or 1824.
Dude, we're part of the ecosystem. That's what I think people fucking forget.
Right. You can't reintroduce wolves in Centennial and school ground, like a bunch of kids running. Like, no.
We always have been part of the ecosystem too, as for as long as we, unless dinosaurs were running
and there's
around,
good and bad, of course.
Like,
for that,
but yeah, the populations are better now than they were 150 years ago. Like it's crazy.
Able to hunt them.
Market hunting and all that other stuff, right? Like we figured it out. We finally got it figured out. And now I feel like we're trying to fuck it up, dude.
Well, it's also the state makes millions off of hunting.
Oh, just the revenue.
Non-resident hunting. You know what I mean? And for them to do something like, I know they talked about elk hunting and cutting it off or something like that for non-residents. I was like, you're willing to throw those millions and millions and millions of dollars
away? Dude, it's
away
like $600 for like an
$750.
Is it?
And then you'd have to get like some other little small tag with it.
Right.
My bear was $450 last time,
but
habitat stamp. I know bears goes up and down, I think, but
dude, that's so much revenue.
Over the counter moose in Alaska, it's like $950, and you can DIY over the counter moose up there as non-resident. I mean, if you get a guide, you're paying $20,000-$25,000.
But I think what people don't realize too is like Colorado Parks and Wildlife takes a big portion of that money and it goes into habitat rehabilitation. Sure. So like all the guys that put in for sheep tags, right? Because that's a lifelong tag, like 25, 30 years to draw a bighorn sheep. Yeah. That all goes into habitat restoration where they'll go in and like plant stuff or clear weeds evasive stuff and make more habitat for them.
And we
or
need that.
manage lions.
Correct. We need that done.
Yeah.
And they need the money for that. So for them to cut off millions and millions of dollars of their own revenue is like that's stupid.
I just think so many people have the blinders on. They're so used to going to the supermarket, grabbing their meat. You and I are a little bit different, I think, in that realm, and I think there's a lot of people out there that are, but it's a very, very small percentage of the mass population.
I mean, it's grown, which is great. I think a lot of that was due to like Joe Rogan getting into hunting.
100%.
And like bow hunting, and people listen to him.
Well, just like having John Dudley and Cameron Haynes and Tom Clum at your disposal, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's really cool too that, I personally don't do like the grip and grin photos, but I'm a proponent of it because it shows people like, hey, this is possible.
Sure.
You can do this.
Right. It's not that complicated.
Yeah.
And the level of pride you get going and doing it, even failing, you're just like, you're out there, you're hunting, like when you do kill an animal and you're able to bring that meat back, you're so stoked and you're sharing it, and it's like, that's awesome. You're like providing from scratch.
Yeah.
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome being a provider. Nothing feels better than that, I don't think, man. It's like, genuinely. But like, this year I struck out on my elk, and you don't have that same sort of connection even going into the woods for a hike that you do when you're hunting.
Yeah, because
you go
a predator.
Deeper.
You're like,
you go further.
Right.
You're quiet. You're listening to everything. You're really...
Your senses are like... The next day after, your senses are a little more heightened.
It takes you a couple days to like get acclimated to it too, man. Yeah. Like the first couple days, I'm like, fuck, this sucks, or like whatever.
Then you start hearing more.
Yeah, once you get out of your own mind, just like, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm getting older and softer, but like taking in those moments, like 2 years ago, it was awesome. I was sitting on this wallow, and this little ground owl, dude. It's like this fucking big owl. Dude. Came in like, do you ever watch Looney Tunes? Like the little chicken hawk dude, the little cocky motherfucker. He came in and was just like looking at me like, I think I can eat this motherfucker, and he hung out with me for 2 or 3 hours, just hanging out, dude. And he was like literally this big, dude. Just
a burrowing owl.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are cute, man.
So cool, man.
That's rad.
So like those experiences, just like sitting there is like, I probably wouldn't have sat there that long and This one I was like,
It's
I'm just
amazing.
gonna chill.
You feel so little, and it's so awesome. Like, out there in the middle of nowhere. It's one of the coolest things.
Especially when you go deep and there's like, it's rough terrain. Like,
I always
okay,
think, like,
I could die out here.
right? Or like you're sitting there on some mountainside deep, and like you're like, how many people have ever been in this place where I'm sitting right now, seeing what I'm seeing? Like,
especially when you get to like the Arctic Circle or Alaska.
Imagine
or
that,
anything.
Antarctica. Like, I mean, anywhere in the world, even SEAL teams being overseas in the middle of nowhere in some mountains in Afghanistan, you'll lay back at night with your night vision and look up, and you see every minute you see shooting stars under night vision because it's that ambient light. So it's under night vision in a clear night sky, like no moon. You can look up, and it's the most incredible. You see little star clusters you never see naked eye, and then when you see a huge, like a big shooting star that you would see naked eye, you literally see it flying and little pieces of it like breaking off.
No
under
way.
night vision. It's the coolest thing ever. And then you're like, how many people have been here on this mountaintop, their head on this rock, looking at this like insane sky right now? Like
Hunting people.
Right? How cool is that?
It's fucking
They're not eating them, but
yeah. Well, yeah, man, that's cool. I've never really thought about it. That's why I get into like, so I'm a hobbyist photographer, right? Like, but one of the reasons why I love it so much is like taking a photograph with a 30 megapixel DSLR camera or a mirrorless camera. And like, I've taken pictures of my daughter and I can zoom in and see my reflection in her eye.
that's so cool.
It's so badass,
Yeah.
right? Or like even with this bison this past week, and my buddy Mike Pintar came up and took a bunch of photos.
Yeah.
He just wanted to come hang out. I was like, yeah, fucking come on up, dude. And he took the most amazing photos. But like zooming in and getting like these little chunks of flesh and hair that you can't see.
Drops like dripping off.
You can't see with your naked eye. So if you do like a starscape, you do like a long exposure.
Yeah.
And you can even be looking up at the sky and you don't see all the stars. But when you do that long exposure, that's how
You're
they get
collecting
those,
that
like,
distant ambient light over time,
Yeah.
and finally it's burning in, and you're like, you can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
But I guess the other way to get it is night vision. Huh?
night vision,
Green.
Yeah, you sit there, just like, damn, that's
So
cool.
badass. We saw a comet this past week.
Yeah.
And it was cool up there. Because, man, the light pollution deal,
Yeah,
until you get out there, you don't realize how many stars are out there. Like, luckily up here, but even up here, we have light
Oh, you
pollution.
have a big city right over there.
Yeah. Oh, Jeremy's
You know what I
got some.
There you go. Oh yeah,
It's
it's
dope,
amazing,
dude.
That night sky app is really cool. And so you turn it on, whatever, open your app, and then you're like, oh, what's that star? And you just take your phone, and it'll tell you what the stars. You can tap on it, and then also it'll be satellite. So you see a satellite, you can take your phone, just put it like this, and then tap on that satellite that you're seeing on your phone, and it'll tell you what satellite it is. It'll be like Sputnik. It'll be like, oh, that's an old Russian, satellite from launched in 1952. You go to Google and Google the name of it, and you come up. Oh, it's the coolest thing.
What's the name of that?
It's like Night Sky, or I think they renamed it, but it also shows you the other side of the Earth, right? That you can't see, like you don't have legs. You just do this, and it'll be like there's no Earth, and it'll tell you. It's like your phone is sitting in 360 universe of all around.
Wow.
It's really cool. It's
I'm gonna go down some rabbit holes on that.
oh,
shit,
so
dude.
the cool shit is when you see the a satellite, and you're like, okay, boom, tap on it, go to Google. It'll tell you like, oh, this was launched in 1922 as a communication center. It's not used anymore. This is the country that launched it. Like it's rad.
That's dope.
Yeah,
That's awesome. I didn't even know that existed.
it's called Sky Guide. I think
Sky
they
Guide.
changed it.
Okay. I think that's a human connection along with hunting that we've lost that you can still experience. It's just like being up there and like, sleeping out with no bivy sack, no nothing, just in a bag, like looking up at the stars. Like that, there's something super cool about that. That connection is unbelievable.
Yeah. Sorry, I have
No, you're good,
some
dude.
work on my house that's been done. This guy keeps calling me. I'm trying to text him like,
How's the new place?
good, man. It's just been.
It looks dope, dude. It's a
awesome.
fucking castle.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a rad place. Just like, when you own your own home, there's things that go wrong, and you're just like, and it's when it rains, it pours. Like, I had some people working on.
We can stop for a
If you're
minute.
not checking out the Mountainside Podcast on YouTube, you absolutely should be. If you like the content that we create here and you want to help support the podcast, please take a moment, subscribe to us on YouTube, and hit that notification bell.
I was going. I kind of started the story. Pretty stressful month, I'm good now. I was just like pretty stressed. Like everything that could, and all first world problems that could go wrong. Like when you own a home and just life shit like went wrong in like a 3-week period. It was like, I like hired a new company to help with like the pool pump because the guy couldn't get in. The pool was like turning green and it was like complicated pool system. So I hired this new company. Like, yeah, we're super good. And like within a week, the jacuzzi heater went out and they're like, oh, rats chewed through a bunch of the electrical shit. So I had to buy a new one of those. And I was like, all right, cool. Then I go to leave on a hunting trip with Ryan Bates in Arizona. And
is he out here right now?
No, he was planning on going down to Texas to see some other buddies, and that got canceled late. But
okay,
so I see the pool guys down in the pool room on Thursday afternoon when I get home, and I get up Friday morning really early, going to go to the airport. I usually get up early, go hit the cold plunge, and I go walk out, let my dog piss, and I look, and my pool's empty,
completely empty,
all but like a foot and a half of the deep end. I was like, so I go and look, and the pool had emptied into the because it's the outside like what do you call that little thing where the water it pumps it back over the edge,
right? Because it's an infinity pool,
yeah,
right?
So it goes down into that I don't want to think of the name, but
like a trough.
Yeah. So it emptied all the pool drained into the trough. Of course, it drained out of the trough, hit the hillside, and ripped the whole hillside away, all the way up to underneath the edge of the pool, like gnarly. Like I mean, this deep, 7 feet deep cavern, like the Grand Canyon, like took because my house is up on this hill, on this ridge, and I was just like, I was out of my mind, dude. I was just like, and I had to go to the airport, so I'm calling. I get a hold of the company. They're like, well, sometimes, there's this one little piece and it breaks and it happens. I'm like, listen, that's not possible because if that just if there's some little piece that just breaks sometimes and causes that much damage, they'd make a new piece.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they'd figure out a better invention. Like nobody, you know what I'm saying? Nobody goes like, well, yeah, this breaks sometimes and it causes $20,000 worth of damage and maybe could flood the neighborhood. Like, it's good.
Right.
Like, no, they would replace that piece with something that's like, there's no way. And so,
Fuckers, man, it's hard to find good help. Dude.
They were
I'm
kind
sure
of
you know this more than me.
Backtracking on the phone, and I was like, I'm turning this plane around, and I'm coming back. Like, I'm not playing, because one, they could just go fix it, and then be like, oh yeah, it was that piece, because you can't leave the pool empty either. Right. So then they end up. It was awesome. He was honest about it. Like, oh, one of our guys must have hit a valve. And I was like, damn, that's a So insurance ended up doing that. Then my pool or my refrigerator quit, and it was like 2 weeks trying to fix that. Then my ice maker, I found out I had it fixed, and I guess for the month it had been leaking to the downstairs room, and I never go to the downstairs room, and like just all the drywall everywhere is just messed, right?
Like it's like a bubble.
I had like remodeled the downstairs whole nice room to have an overflow room, so then the guy came to fix that, and all I did is I hit the company up and they're like, we just messed with the electrical. We didn't touch anything else. I was like, you pulled the whole thing out, undid the water lines and plugged it back in. Like, you know what I mean? I was like, it wasn't leaking before, but they're like, oh, no. And I'm like, Jesus, like, of course. So that's finally what I was getting fixed. Took the phone call trying to get fixed. I had to buy a new one. And then rats chewed through the electrical for my outdoor kitchen barbecue area. So I had to rerun some electrical stuff there. I mean, killing rats left and right. And then
Crow should be taking care of those little fuckers.
And then I caught. Then I was like cooking inside and outside, and I caught a pan on fire, and it burned like everything in the hood over my my stovetop, everything. So I got to get a new one of those. And then there was some work stuff, and then my turkey's head got bit by a rattlesnake, like in the same week, dude. Yeah, damn. My first turkey got out, and my dog smashed it in front of my mom, and my mom's like screaming, like, "No, Crow, no!" And my dog paid zero attention to my mom. Just smashed the first turkey's head. And then the second turkey, his head swelled up, and it was like walking around trying to lift his head up, and I'm like, man, what happened to you? And of course, they can't tell me. So I was like feeding it medication from when Crow had some teeth stuff done. Eventually, it just died, and I was like, wow, like everything, like nice,
bro.
It's wild, dude.
Yeah, man. It's like the bigger the house, the bigger the problem.
Oh, man.
It's like it's funny. As I say that, like I drive this old beat up Toyota Tundra that I swear, like I could go buy a new truck. Yeah. But right now it's in the shop. I'm in a rental. Like, thing hardly ever breaks.
Every little thing, man. I was just like, and they're all, they're all first world problems. I'm extremely blessed and very grateful. I'm like, but then I was gone for 2 of those weeks. Like I'm out hunting and like everything's going wrong. Luckily, I have some extremely amazing people in my life that have my back and look out for stuff when I'm gone, and
Hell yeah.
that's very good. But I was like really? So now I'm just like they say, what bad things like come in threes or something like that. It's not true. It's like 6.
It's like
or
12
9.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like 12. You're like, yes, that was the third one.
Yeah.
Start it over.
Nope,
Another
there's
3.
10 more coming, dude. 13s.
But one step at a time, get something fixed, work on the next one. And luckily for us, like I was telling you, we've been looking for a place to buy for half-face blades for 5 years. And then the commercial real estate market's nuts. I was residential too in California, San Diego, but commercials, interest rates went up and the property still went up with commercial.
I know, it's insane.
Biotech's down there buying everything up. So found a off-market place, and we're in escrow right now, so we should be closing.
Sweet. Is it still in San Diego?
It's a mile from my shop right now.
Oh,
1.2 miles from where I park my truck to where I park the truck in front of the place. So moving sucks. I have 6 or 7 CNC machines, but a mile away.
Are you going to have to shut down for a while, or how is it?
No, what I'll do is all of December, the place should be empty, the new building, and I'll do all the build out. So everything's ready to rock and roll. And then maybe first or second week of January, we'll just, boom, 3 days, try to get everything over there. And at least I'll get enough machines plugged in. Guys can start working on customs and stuff again. So should be good.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely need it. How many employees do you have now just at Half Face?
Probably 38. Yeah, because I have my crew that's running, CNC machines, and then I have, some guys that are we still hand grind a lot, so I switch guys out doing that. And then I have the customs team. I've just shut the books because it's like a 2-year wait list because customers get absolutely nuts with what they want. It's crazy, the level of custom.
Yeah.
And people's ideas, and we're like, oh, let's figure it out. So I have a team that does that. Team that works on the custom production and production stuff, and then my other team is just the customs, the weekly customs that we put up. And then I have laser engraving, my photography guys, Kelsey running the office and everything, Kristen doing all the shipping and emails and stuff like that, and Miles manages that custom the custom weekly side. Seamus runs the custom builds. Matt Mador runs all the CNCs and does all the programming for that. And I have a super good team right now.
That's rad, man. Because that, having a good team is the hardest part, I think, right?
I don't have any problem childs right now. And usually we have one or two that it's like, dude, get up, come, make sure you're at work. I can't depend on you. They always want to get paid more, but I'm like, I look at the calendar, I'm like, you were late 42 times. I'm not even gonna look.
Then
at your
you're playing dad, right?
Well,
at that point,
that's what the one thing I can't control. If you're at work, I can see you're not doing good. I can be like, okay, I'm gonna help you in these areas, right? And I can blame myself if I'm not making you better or showing you how to be better. I can't get you to work on time. So even if you're a good performance, but you can't seem to do the one thing that you're in control of is get to work on time. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna look at your performance. So I'm gonna do it. I do it in. Every 3 months at a time, I look at everybody's if they've been late, how they're doing. If they take time off, are they making it up? Are they, you know what I mean? Everything. And I look at how they're doing are they learning? Are they progressing? Are they timing themselves? And I ask them as well. And then if they haven't been late, except, there's a car accident on roads, a bunch of guys will be late because there's only a few ways in. I don't count that, but I'll go in and be like, oh, in the last 3 months, you were late, 24 times. I was like, I'm not going to look at your performance, and I'm not going to put a check mark by your name. So at the end of the year, I pull funds and I say, okay, I can, the business can afford to take this money and do bonuses. And I'll look, and each guy every 3 months, I'll see if he's got a check mark by their name and be like, okay, cool. For whatever amount I have, you would get the full value of what I could give you with 4 check marks. You know what I mean? So if I was going to allot $5,000 to this person, but for 3 months, there's no check mark because they were late and performance wasn't as good. You know what I mean? They're just going to make a little less of what I can.
And that's just one little aspect of business. That was one thing. I mean, we just kind of dove in here, and there's never an agenda in here, but business-wise, you're crushing it, dude. And it looks like it, but I know what kind of headaches come with that, and material is so expensive.
It's, like I said, I'm so blessed. We have such an incredible team, and it's we do so much fun stuff out of work. There's a bunch of guys that like to camp or ride dirt bikes and hike, and we go grab lunches on the weekends, and then we do a Christmas party, and we do lunches on Fridays. And if there's a cool movie coming out, I'll rent the theater out, and everybody goes and watches a movie. And so we have such a good.
That's dope.
The team effort is there, and guys get to be able to be creative, and it's good. But I'm really lax. I don't like look over people's shoulders. I don't micromanage. So sometimes it gets a little.
I think that
little
you
lax.
got to give them a little bit of a leash, that creativity, letting them have their own creativity and not
100%.
micromanaging it, right?
100%. You can't micromanage creativity, but you can expect like, okay, once you figure this out, let's move into getting it done, because you're a sales-based, we're a sales-based company. Like if we don't produce and we don't sell, I can't give bonuses and raises. You know what I mean? Like we don't grow. So whether you're creative or not, you still need to be able to do things. Like if you take 10 hours to make a knife that another guy takes 2, I can't afford you. I can. That's why I need guys to progress. So after they're a year at the business, we've given them all the tools and shown them how they need to hit that standard, because then they're too expensive, right? Because the business needs to make a profit.
So high too. Like the customers, like I've never received a blade where there was a problem with it.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah, and I don't like if we have messed up blades, I don't sell them. I don't let those go out in the market. You know what I mean? And if something happens to a knife, like we're gonna forever like. People come up with these like fancy ways of saying that they're guarantees, and I think that any good business should do it. It's like we're going to sharpen and refurbish for free. You hand that knife down to your kid, we're going to do the same thing. It's the knife that we're going to follow, and we're going to guarantee that knife. If if you're prying with a knife, that's on you. You snap it or something like that. Like you're a dummy. It's not what it's for. You know. But we'll resharpen, refurbish, clean, whatever you want for that knife for its entire life. If you're handing it down now. If somebody modifies a knife, then it's on me. If I'm going to be like, no, you screwed your own knife up. Like I'm not going to take the time and fix something that you purposely screwed up. You know what I mean? Some people will not take care of their knife and it'd be sitting out in the rain, and they're like, hey, there's rust on it. I'm like, yeah, it's not titanium. Like all steel is going to rust over time. You know what I mean? So you need to take care of your knife.
Yeah,
like,
you need to oil it or wax it
correct.
or one of those.
Don't store it in leather. There's all sorts of little things, and people should know that. Like. I've had a few knives, like the guys sent in, like, oh yeah, it broke in half. I'm like, what were you doing? It's like, I was throwing it, and it missed the tree and hit a rock. And I'm like, 1, it's not a throwing knife. 2, I wouldn't heat treat it because it wouldn't, like, throwing knives, you don't want to heat treat. You want to hit and it could like move and bend,
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you heat treat it, now it's brittle, it'll hold an edge and it'll be corrosion resistance, but you hit something in the middle of it and you snap it, right? And you're like, you were throwing it, dude. Like, I'm not just going to replace your knife.
Yeah.
It shouldn't break. Like
it's like using a C-wrench for a hammer, dude. You know what I mean?
It's
like it's probably not going to be able to twist a nut anymore, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
anyway.
that's what I'm really shocked with, like the one that I use the most out of all the blades that I own of yours and hatchets and all that sort of shit is the chef knife.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wash it twice a day,
Yeah.
and it holds an edge. Yeah. And the handle hasn't come off, like nothing, like they're fucking bad.
Over time, like we just have learned so much over time from when we started. And I've never been in somebody else's shop. No one taught me. I've just been an end user and like, okay, how do we do this really good? And how do we grow? And how can we always be better? We've had some like Horn likes to like over time likes to bend. So we have little separations and we go in, we fill those little gaps and stuff like that. And it's good to go. The knife or, sometimes we'll have a chip in the wood over time if it dries out too much, and then we just fill it, or we replace grips here and there. But it like for them being like for us using a lot of natural products and wood and bone, all that stuff, and antler, it's like it is rare that we have a messed up handle.
Really?
And I mean thousands of knives.
Yeah, it should be expected with wood or something like that.
Some
like
people take their chef knives though and they put them in the dishwasher, like wood, and it just messes them up. And you're like there in every box there's like do's and don't do's, you know what I mean, for your knife. I'm like, just lightly wash it, dry it, throw a little oil, put olive oil on it and the handle once in a while. A little knife oil would be best, chef oil, but just, that's how you make it. Some people just aren't good at taking care of their stuff, and then they want to blame the company, and you're like,
I refuse to use the dishwasher because I'm kind of like a minimalist, I guess.
Yeah,
My wife gets so pissed. She's like, why do we need this dish drying rack? I was like, because I don't fucking use the dishwasher.
Yeah, I don't use that many plates. You know what I mean? Yeah. It'd be taking me 3 weeks to fill that thing.
And there's something like satisfying. I don't know. For me, like I do my own dishes.
Yeah, I don't mind it at all.
Man enough to not do.
Well, that's one thing. Like I love to cook, and it's like culinary. Like there's chef knives in every single home in America.
Yeah,
not a skinning knife, not a tomahawk.
Yeah.
So that side of it's really big. I redesigned for next year. I redesigned all our chef knives, our line, different handle. I've had some guys like completely rip off half face blades of their brand, and they just copy exactly our knives. And it happens. The aesthetics is one thing. You can't help like someone's going to copy like our splits and stuff like that. Now it's everywhere, which is awesome, like cool. But when somebody copies your exact handle shape and angles and everything, you're just like, dude, come on, man. So
Has
I
anybody ever
redesigned-
ripped off the logo? Because I think that's
No.
like one of the coolest things.
No,
to me
they're all
about it?
copyrighted. All my
Yeah.
I copyright everything. You know, there's been some companies that started like half-breed knives and red-face knives and all these things like that, and they name their company that, and it's like,
Andy, do you put the chef knives and stuff out into restaurants?
yeah. So do a lot for chefs, a lot for home stuff.
What's the steakhouse, Berries or something?
So Barry's has them, and
Yeah.
the French Laundry, Bouchon, so Thomas
Oh,
Keller,
sweet. Yeah.
up in Napa Valley.
Just to
There's
give feedback.
Paradisia.
And see how they.
No,
see how
like
they,
if
No,
you go
no.
to Berries and order a steak, it comes with a half-face
Yeah,
blade.
so they have about 45 steak knives there. French Laundry
wonder
has
how
about
many of those
25.
I've
No, but I'm
Different.
saying
Missing.
for like feedback and like, ooh, try this, or like weight distribution, shit like that. Like, do you,
Yeah, I have buddies that are chefs, but
Yeah.
I don't send those to those guys. They order them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so like I said, Barry's has like 45 steak knives. So when you're a VIP, you use our knives. Same French Laundry, they'll come up and they have a box with the knives in it, and you get to choose your steak knife to eat your dinner with and stuff like that. And then same Paradisia, San Diego, it's like seafood and steak. One side is giraffe
Is that the
bone.
place where we went with Gio after?
No, we
Okay.
went. We
dude.
were at maybe it was that downtown.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was a water grill maybe.
Okay.
Then one side's wood, one side's giraffe bone. We're constantly working with really awesome restaurants to, especially the steak knives. That's so cool. Like when you sit there and you're like the food, you're like, this food is incredible. Well, now your steak knife is incredible too, and you're just like. I get people like they'll just tag half-face blades. They'll be at French Laundry and they're just like, "This is one of the coolest things we had here is using that steak knife,
Yeah.
like turquoise and bone and like just. I mean, you're paying a lot for dinner. You're pairing incredible wine, and you're trying these tastes and these meals that like you rarely have these tastes. Like
You
why
don't
not
want the
have,
old standard Outback
That's what I'm saying.
steak
Why not
knife.
have a beautiful, right? Like have a piece of culinary beauty that matches.
Well, I think the chefs really appreciate that too. A lot of those
Yeah.
guys travel, if they're a genuine chef, travel
Yeah.
with their own knives that come, and
Yeah.
like their own little canvas
Yeah, we
with
just-
leather roll and like.
Yeah, I just finished Joe Rogan's set, and it's from.
Oh, those were badass. You
dude,
should pull that up.
His was awesome. I think I did a post too, but he did a little video.
I think it's
but
on your
I actually
personal, isn't it?
Yeah. So go here to the right. So from there, the top one is the 10-inch. So can you swipe right on the thing and see the other pictures in it? Because there's the video. I did a few outdoor knives, Featherlight, Crow Junior, and there's a Cav up there. Is there a way to like?
I don't think I swipe on that one, can I?
Is there not?
Oh, I think it's just a reel.
Maybe go.
Maybe there's
to,
another post. Or go to his page.
That's on mine. Is that on Half Face or mine?
Hey, shout out to Joe, man. Like fucking
What a
he's
legend.
crushing it.
Ledge. I can't wait for this next podcast
This
with
is like right now,
Trump
right?
on there.
Yeah.
Let me find this.
Go to Joe Rogan's page. He made the post, right?
Yeah, but he just put the video up. I'm trying to
okay.
find where it's actually like. I did a post where I showed.
I bet you it's on Half Face.
It's on Half Face.
Yeah.
We actually have still pictures, so I can point them out. But actually, it's from the elk he killed last year. Huge elk up in Tejon Ranch. They found a single shed from that same elk that he killed from the year before.
Oh, really?
So he sent me that, and we did all of his.
This is a reel too.
Go to Half Face Instagram.
This is.
Oh, it is? Okay.
It's a reel too.
All right.
What the hell?
What the hell?
Well, whatever.
You can airdrop them to that Mac if you want.
It's all good. Anyway.
It's cool. We can kind of see it there, dude.
Yeah, so you
Like,
have a chef knife, Nikiri, utility blade, pairing, and then steak knife, and then there's a steak knife inside the leather sheath, and we had, a Featherlight, the Tasawi blade, and then that spike is an OSS spike, and it's
Yeah,
Baker
those are-
forging tool with the copper Mascus Sanmai. Incredible.
that's
And then
on my wish list too,
that
dude.
bottom Kavner is just, it's a bunch of little pieces of leftover cut ends that we did with clear resin. You can kind of see it here, right? When it goes left, keep going, stop. So that upper left is the Kavner.
Oh,
It's-
yeah.
It's all clear resin with little pieces of elk through it. And it
that's
turned out,
cool.
I mean, it turned out really beautiful. And we kept, it's hard to keep the natural outside, the bark of the antlers on there and pin it. And because you have to grind those pins down. It's it's very time consuming. But you notice all the new handles from the old chef knife. So this is our new style of grip, real ergonomic.
Oh, okay.
It's hard. They're a lot harder to shape, but they're just beautiful and it feels good. And I was like, I don't care if it takes us longer. Like I want good shit. I don't want to cut corners ever.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, man.
Yeah, it turned out really beautiful.
Yeah, it's brought a new level of joy to me cooking.
Yeah.
Because I know you, right? So there's that connection. But, I have some other like boning knives and stuff like that I kind of use as like chef knives. And I have some like bullshit like Japanese chef knives that I paid a lot of money for.
Yeah.
Maybe even more than my half face.
Yeah.
But like grabbing that is just, I don't know. It's my go-to.
Especially seeing, I love getting pics and videos of people using their knives, like knives in use. I actually had a HFB in use Instagram for a while, and I was just posting pictures of them in use. But I'm like, why not just post it on my normal one? So I don't know where that Instagram went, just went away. But like every couple months, I'll do like a reel where it's just photos of knives being used, and that's the coolest thing
user,
ever.
yeah.
Oh, it's amazing. Just from guys overseas, in wars to Joe Rogan using his stuff. Ozzy Osbourne's Tomahawk was incredible. He did that one. To my buddies, to it's pretty cool to see the reach that Half Faces has, and they're usable, beautiful, savage, and they're fun, and it's
typically whenever I don't share many of these photos with anybody, but I'll send them to you when my half face is like, with a piece of heart or something. Or
they're the best, dude.
I actually got some that I need to send you.
A knife in one hand, and the heart in the other hand is awesome.
So badass, dude.
And it's like the collaborations. That's what I really love too, collaborations. So like the stuff with Origin.
Yeah.
Doing stuff with DEF CON.
These, I meant to send these to you beforehand, but this is from that Bison.
Rad. Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome.
Donnie in there using it. Look at how thick that'll show you how thick that.
That layer is nuts, dude.
That's skin, bro. I guess.
And it's like,
I was reading this book on Chief Red Cloud.
Yeah.
He was like one of the last like Sioux warriors, but he was kind of like
I have a Red Cloud knife. One of my knives is a Red Cloud.
Oh, really? That's badass. Which one is that? Look that up, Jeremy. I bet you if you just Google it, it would come up. I got to see the shape behind it. But they were talking about somewhere in that book that the Sioux would take that piece of hide from the neck and rawhide it and leave the hair on it. And that's what they would build their shields out of. And it was strong enough to stop a musket ball.
That's wild. So if you go to the right, those are those.
Oh, those are sick.
Right there?
Yeah, so those are all them different ones, but yeah, there's some with that red and black carbon fiber grip. I don't even know what website that is. But, it's on
Facebook or something.
Go back. Google images, whatever. Yeah, that's them. That's that style.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, man, you got a cool thing happening, man. I think the coolest part for me personally is watching your growth. Like, I think is
wild,
unbelievable, and it's well deserved too because you care. Because I don't think it's one thing just to get one or see it, and then I'm sure people see it and we're like, oh man, it must be so cool to do. But until you've actually tried to make a knife, and then the amount of work that goes into the handles, and
it's insane.
How many guys it employs, and like. Just the business headaches behind it. Yeah. Like you were explaining just the employees.
Right.
That's just one little piece, man. Then you have, marketing, like
all
that.
And then you have your economic, ups and downs and how you're going to run your business and how you're going to change and, watching the market and people buying and what they like and what's used. Some people like stuff that I don't like because it's not as usable. Like Tontos, they're cool looking, but it's far from the best design, the Tonto, but people really like those. So I kind of I'm like, all right, well, I'll do some Tontos, but I don't have a production Tonto I do in the lineup.
Yeah.
It's probably because I'm not a big fan of them, even though people are.
Well, that's kind of, you see my collection, right? Yeah. Like the dive knife is probably, it's one thing that I've wanted, and I love spearfishing, and I would love to get down to Miami. I have a bunch of friends in Miami that do it and stuff. They're just old rock and rollers.
You have all very usable stuff.
Yeah,
tools
like that little pry bar.
Yeah.
Another favorite piece is that first Palumbo spike. Did you see that? Was that the first run?
Pneumo, the very first
Oh,
pneumo spikes.
Okay.
Because it was like I wanted a little spike to puncture lungs, right?
Yeah.
So it was like a little lung spike. And then after this one, I designed the bigger one as the cardiac spike to
Yeah.
puncture again your heart. You know?
I used to travel with that thing
those are
everywhere
neat,
I
dude.
went, dude. And I was like, yeah, I used to.
Yeah.
Now it's the tactical.
I don't even make
flathead,
these
but
anymore. I just, you know,
Yeah.
I did it for a couple years, and it was
That's
like,
kind of cool. That's what I like
yeah.
about like that Jack Sally is like
Yeah.
not many people. I'm like, well, have you seen this? You know, it's kind of like
Yeah.
that.
And what I'll
It's
do,
kind of like whipping your dick out, right? It's like,
I don't know. I think a lot of people have seen that.
yeah, you're right.
There I am on Christmas.
Yeah,
We did a sprint run once in a while. Yeah.
you got to look hard.
Keep your knife away.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, the blade porn though, man, it's real. But like all those, I think I put to use. This one I've kind of retired just because I don't want to lose it, man. Like that's my
a cool
biggest
knife.
fear, man.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, when I texted you, or I maybe I messaged you through Facebook, I think originally because I didn't have your info when I had that made, and then I had another one made as a gift, and I gave it to somebody that I wish I wouldn't have given it to, honestly. But they got a badass blade out of it. We did a coral handle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Yep.
bad.
A
Black.
full coral.
Yeah, black coral. I think it might have had mosaic pins.
Cool.
It was
Coral's
sweet. I
tough,
know I
man.
have a photo of it. But when I hit you up about that, I was like, you know, it'd look badass if there was blood on the handle.
Yeah.
You're like, done, you know,
Yeah.
or whatever. And it just showed up. And I was like, so happy with it.
Yeah,
So then
cool.
when I got the tomahawk, I was even more like, so
Yeah, with that
badass,
black
dude.
and red resin.
It just looks like blood, you know?
Yeah.
I fucking love it.
Yeah, I love that, man.
Super cool.
Great shape.
Then the rock work, you know, I think is something. I grew up finding arrowheads and stuff too, and I've
Yeah,
always
I love
been
that.
intrigued by it. you
That's
know,
why.
so it's
That's like, you know, it's like that's what I compared it to. It's like chipping away at an arrowhead.
yeah,
That rock work. You know,
so
when it's an
badass.
organized pattern, it's file work,
right.
and then it's rock work when it's like this. And the guy who taught us this, Joe O3 Metalworks, he makes knives too. He's out northeast. He taught us that.
Really?
Throughout, yeah. When I started doing knives, like I was like, all right, I'm gonna make some knives for myself and my buddies. You know, still active. And then I was like, it's gonna be, you know, more of a hobby. I didn't really think about it that way as a business quite yet. And when I started, I'd gone on like Blade Forum, and I was like, hey, I'm new at this. I asked some questions. I was like, I got some buddies who already want knives, and they were like, oh, it's just a bunch of hate. It was like, oh yeah, the first year you'll just start learning. Maybe by the second year you start, you know, making something good, and then by the third year, and I was just like, what the hell? Like, you don't know me. You know what I mean? And it was like a bunch of just people thinking it's going to take 3 or 4 years to make something.
I think
good.
it's anything that you do creatively, man. Like even with this, people are like, "Why the fuck? Why are you doing this? Why?" You know, and I'm just
Man,
like,
I just took that
it's
and I was
turned
like,
into
okay.
something totally different, right?
Yeah. And I was like, well, there was just a bunch of people thinking like, oh, it's going to be years before you're able to make something good. And I was like, okay, whatever, dude. Like I've been an end user my whole life. I know it works. And these guys probably haven't been, whatever. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to start off making something super complicated. I'll start doing like a camp knife, that series 1 that I never named, just called the series 1. And I followed some guys on Instagram that make knives. And I was like, oh, I really like, you know, some of this guy's work. So I reached out, this guy, O3 Metalworks on Instagram, and I DM'd him, and I was like, I saw he was a Primarine, and I was like, hey, dude, my name's Andy. I'm starting my knife company. I really like some of your handles. Hey, if I bought you a plane ticket, would you fly out from, he's up in New York, to California, crash on my couch and kind of help me out, like, you know, learn a little bit? And he's like, absolutely.
Really?
So like 2 weeks later, I flew him out,
rad.
hung out at my house and had beers and worked on handles, and he taught us rock work. It was like me and my buddy Elliot, you know, taught us rock work, and he's been one of my closest friends. He's an incredible dude.
Is he still making blades?
Yeah.
That's super rad.
Yeah, O3 Metalworks.
Okay.
Yeah, solid
Look
guy.
that up, Jeremy. We'll have to give him a follow.
We do collabos, and what I'd like to do is, like, we've grown so much, you know, over the years. I'd really like to get him to move out to San Diego and be like a manager and help oversee everything, you know, kind of like what I do now, like make myself out of that position, set him into that role, you know, just overall. He's an incredible guy.
That's super
O3
rad.
Metalworks. Is that Instagram? Where? Really? It's not. Let's see.
God, Winkler took a hit during that North Carolina thing.
Yeah, just
man, I got family
muddy
there too.
and-
They just got power back 2 days ago.
No
my
way.
family, yeah, fucking crazy.
Yeah, O3 Metalworks, all one word. There it is.
There it is.
Yep.
Nice.
Marine
Give him a
Joe.
follow.
Yeah, solid guy, man.
Sick.
He makes really cool stuff, man. Really interesting, different chef knives, all different knives. Like he has his own style, which is cool. Because in the last 5 years, there's been, I think, a lot of military guys have gotten out and started making knives, and it's like they just copy the next guy. Like very few of them are like creative on their own. It's always
Yeah,
like
you're
copying somebody else.
You're so creative, man. It goes a long ways. Like it shows through in a lot of the other stuff that you've done with like DEF CON and
Those guys
like
are creative,
Warpaw, I think
Yeah.
is so cool. I want to talk to you about that, man, because dude, to just go out and start your own wine label from the ground
Yeah.
to bottle is fucking impressive, dude. Was that like always a passion or like
I always
and now
want,
you
I
have the
wanted
cab
to.
out? Like
yeah,
I
the
got to get a
cab-
bottle of cab.
That Cabernet is like it's
Is
incredible.
there any left?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
All right.
expensive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was a good drop, good release. I probably have 1,000 bottles left, which is great. It's a couple barrels worth.
Jeremy,
So-
get us a bottle of cab, dude.
It's good.
I don't care what it costs.
It's good. I mean, it's incredible. So
Yeah. I can't wait to taste
yeah,
it.
and it'll just get better. Same. I bought grapes from the same vineyard right there in Rutherford, 21, 22, and 23. So, and then I'm moving over to actually pretty much across the road from Glass Mountain we were talking about earlier.
Oh, yeah.
There's another little, and it's right on the edge of Howell Mountain Road. And I grew up on Howell Mountain Road in Angwin above St. Helena. That's where the grapes are coming from for this year.
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of cool, man. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Are you doing a cab with those grapes
It'll
too?
be a cab, 100%, 100% single vineyard cab.
Really?
Yeah.
That's badass.
Yeah, when you can,
God, the
especially there in
labels and everything are
Rutherford.
just so cool too, man.
Yeah, what's
Like,
cool is when people read the back,
Yeah.
and it has the little logos. It talks about the meanings of the hand, the lion, on the back. Have you ever read the back of
Yeah.
that? It's cool, man.
Yeah, it's super rad.
Yeah. There's Pinot, Chenin. If you go lower down, there's the cab. It goes one more down. Told you it's expensive. But man,
That's not that bad, dude.
Single vi- no.
$150.
So from
is
that
not
from the
horrible.
same vineyard I'm getting mine, that guy's bottles are I think $350 to $450 a bottle.
Oh shit. Okay.
But you've got to keep it separate.
Yeah.
They have a name brand. I'm lucky the guy's selling me grapes from that vineyard. I mean, that whole little area there, Rutherford, Oakville, and Napa Valley.
Oh,
is
it's
some of the
world
best.
famous,
I mean,
man.
if you go right up on the hill, you have Scream Eagle and Harlan Estate. Come down, you have like Farniente, Nickel and Nickel. I think like Scarecrow somewhere around there. You have Amulet. You have a bunch of those vineyards around there. Just some of the most incredible wine in the valley.
So rad. The hard part for me, I think, would be keeping my own stock. Right? Like,
I mean,
how many bottles
We've
are
had
you
some
cracking,
long nights, dude.
Yeah.
I need to make money from this because I'm already,
Right.
I'm in the hole. This is like a side project, so I'm in the hole. I haven't made any profit from this yet, so
Right.
it'll be some time before I make a profit because it's not. My buddy who's the winemaker, incredible guy, GW Lissier. He was in the Army.
Oh, that's cool.
He was
So he's a
behind me
vet.
in school. Yeah, he's a veteran as well, and he moved back to Napa Valley. Married a really close friend of my first girlfriend from high school.
Really?
Awesome girl, Erica Covey. And he became a winemaker. He has his own wine as well, Lucier wine. Like, it's incredible. He's an incredible winemaker. And so when I ran into him, I already had the name. I had like a little business plan, like what I want to do. And I ran into him, and it was like, oh, cool. Like a little answer to prayer, like to be able to do this. And he's a winemaker. I was like, oh man, can he be my
And
winemaker?
to do it with a friend
manage,
that you
yeah,
trust.
manage, like help. He's up in the valley, help manages it. Like really cool, man. The wine market's crashed hard. Like
Really?
Napa Valley. I think there's an age thing where it's like 25 through 35. They're little brand loyalty anymore, and they like cheap crap. So it's really interesting.
Yeah,
that
like
the market's-
box wine has made like a resurgence or something, right? Like,
just
yeah.
cheap. Everybody's drinking seltzers, and people I don't know. One thing is, the economy is like you have a bunch of 25 to 30-year-olds that just can't afford anything because they've been crushed by the economy too. And it's like, oh, dude, they really want to go buy a $150 bottle of wine versus they can get Barefoot or something like that for $8.
Yeah.
Try to get a house.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah.
Even better. Like, how about don't buy any booze and save your money for a house? Like,
Yeah, right.
Right. Yeah,
I should be selling homes.
If I had all the money
homes.
that I spent on booze, dude, I probably could buy a house
Oh, man,
over the
at least
years.
some cool
you know?
guns, you know.
Yeah.
At least a plot of land.
Yeah.
Maybe a few thousand acres somewhere.
Hell yeah.
I'll buy an island in Fiji. Yeah.
I've always had a dream. I used to tour with this guy. He was a production manager, and he did like Aerosmith. He's a fucking legend, dude. Chris Lamb.
Okay.
And he's like the Marlboro Man. Like,
Yeah.
and he would bring his Harley on tour with him. And it was an all white Harley, but the back half of a saddle was the actual seat. Like,
Yeah.
he's just a fucking salty
Yeah.
old dude. Like, smokes filterless cigarettes.
Oh, man.
Eats McDonald's for every meal, but is built like a Greek god.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
how?
Genetics, dude.
But he
Just
makes
got
his
'em.
own tequila.
Yeah.
And he lives out in Palm Springs and
That's
shit.
cool,
you know,
man.
but like, I've always wanted to make my own tequila because I've
Yeah.
always loved.
I've never done tequila.
Yeah.
I've done bourbon. I've done whiskeys. I've done gin.
You could
done
probably do some
vodka.
agave at your house, huh? Like, it'd probably grow there. You're close enough to
dude.
Mexico.
Maybe I did plant an orchard last year. This year, beginning of this year, it's growing really good. I have 14 4x8 foot planters on timers. My garden was nuts this year. My chickens lay a bunch of eggs. I got my half pipe, my chicken coop, and my garden right next to each other. Then now I've got steel on the property. I can shoot. 155 acres. It's a cool spot.
That's badass.
It's great having people over and watching.
Yeah, I want to
games
come
and
out and check it out.
jump
dude.
in the pool and take the Polaris. I got Polaris hit me up. I'm ambassador for Polaris, which is cool. So they hooked me up with a razor and go rip around the property.
Sweet.
And I get up in the morning or in the evening, like go put my dog in the passenger seat, get in my Polaris, and they have Utah Air Guns makes badass air guns, like 900 feet per second, 30 cal, just lead. It's all air fired.
Really?
They sent me one, and I bought another one. They're badass. Utah Air Guns, man. I'm telling you. So I go out in the evening, and I could shoot 22 on my property. I could shoot my property anyway, but you go and you pull that, and they're nice setups, full like Night Force scopes, like, and they're accurate, and they just drive around on there and hunt rabbits with that thing and my dog. And then when I shoot a rabbit, I'm like, Voss, and he just jumps straight out through the open windshield and goes and gets the rabbit.
Really?
Yeah. So I need to film that one, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
Utah Air
badass.
Guns. I'm telling you, oh man. So Sawyer Clark works for him. He's a really incredible shooter. He has an Instagram, but he hooked me up. This company hooked me up, sent me a really nice setup. And then
So is it just the CO2 canister you put on there?
Yeah,
Sick.
and you fill it, and that smaller one I have has like I think 14 rounds. The other one's got like 21, and like you build it out like super nice scope. So go down. I think I have the Maverick, and then I bought a little shorty the other day. But you can carry them in your car. They're not like, I think that's that. So that middle one is the small one I have, and that's the small one too. But that middle one is one of the ones I have right now too, and it's badass. So you like pick what you want. You pick your scope. They set it all up. They shoot it, make sure it's accurate, and they send it out to you. And like I said, it's not powder firing, so you don't have to. They're not registered. Like it's an air gun. Carry it in your car, like whatever. And man, they're cool, man.
That's badass.
You can shoot deer, coyotes. Like, you'll take down a deer with that.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Nobody wants to get shot by one of those.
No, hell no, dude.
No, and
that ain't no airsoft.
they're working on semi-auto ones. They're not the best yet, but like it's just a little quick, and you got 20. My other one, I think it's like 14 rounds. That one, boom.
What's the
900 feet per
caliber
second.
of the lead?
So
Is it
there's
a ball,
multiple. So
or-
go to caliber. It's just a little piece of lead, dude. It's
Oh,
like-
okay.
So if you go to caliber, it'll go to the right. It'll tell you all that. No, go down. No, up, right there. So these are the different calibers you can get it in. So I'll mine a .30, and it's like smaller, obviously, than a 9, but it's
It's like a 22.
it's bigger.
round,
So that
yeah.
point, so you can get the 22 size, but it's bigger than that.
That's awesome.
So you'll see there's .17. Go to that real quick. So .17. There's the .22 size, 22 size.
Yeah.
.25 and .30.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, it's a hefty. The head plates like steel, like it knocks those down.
Really?
Oh yeah,
That's impressive, man.
yeah. Everybody should
Oh,
have one
there.
of those.
You know, it's kind of funny. Like now that I've gotten into napping a little bit and messing around with that a little bit, we were using antler tines and stuff, and I was like, I should just fly around with one of these, dude. This thing's like 8 inches long.
Oh, dude, look at
Like,
Braveheart. When he comes back when they smoke his
Yeah.
wife, and he stabs that dude up through the chin with it's just an antler. I make those all the time, little just handheld, like that antler spike coming out here. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's
Damn.
okay.
Yeah.
You're not taking over this plane. I'll put an
especially
antler
like
through
on
your
a
head.
mule deer or something like that.
Oh, man.
Dude, they're so
Yeah.
sharp.
Yeah.
Look at that. fucking thing, dude.
Jeez Louise. That's a different one. Look at that. 35 caliber.
Wow.
A big bore. Jeez.
He's ordering it on the way home.
I want to see that gun that shoots that, dude. Look at those ones over there. Yeah.
Whoa.
Those are like titanium or like explosive tip air explosive tip air bullet. The explosive tip 22s, dude.
Armor piercing.
Oh
Damn.
man. Yeah, they're pretty rad.
That's super cool. Yeah, I haven't seen that. I didn't know that they made them like that.
Oh, they're like
Many
they're
feet
good.
per second and everything.
Oh man, it's
fucking
nuts.
wild.
You can turn it up and down. Like they're cool.
That's totally cool. It's not registered either.
No, it's
That's
an air
like the
gun.
best part. Yeah.
Yeah.
Super cool. Yeah, I trip out, man. Like, just on technology and how far it's come. Like, even my kid running around with his airsoft, like, those things fucking rip now, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
It's nuts.
it's so cool. I wish I had all that sort of stuff when I was a kid. I'd probably be in a lot more trouble, dude.
Oh,
That
for
would be-
sure.
Yeah.
Instead of throwing rocks and sticks, we'd be shooting each other.
Yeah.
You know, talk about technology and all the UAPs. How cool is like the last few years of UFO sightings and just weird.
Yeah.
Somebody, you know, like I don't.
Have
think,
you seen?
I don't think it's
anything living
aliens
down there. Or?
No,
No.
no. The only coolest things I see down there is when Elon Musk launches SpaceX from like Santa Barbara, I think, area, and it just comes up, and it's one of the coolest things just watching that thing at night go over when they're launching those satellites or the rockets.
crazy.
That's awesome. I think
And
that,
those things land themselves too.
That one the
That's
other day was cool.
coolest part, man.
I can't
Like,
wait till that guy like
It doesn't look real.
Yeah.
that dude's a legend. I mean,
He really
Elon
is.
Musk, like I love his
And a
freedom of
patriot.
speech. Patriot,
in his-
freedom of speech. He's
yeah.
like, say what I want, and what are you gonna do? Like, this is why we protect this. You should be able to say what you want to, you know. And Don Lemon's like, well, you know, like hate speech. You know, that's hate speech. He's saying no. There's a difference between something that's illegal that I won't allow on my platform and something that's legal, whether you like it or not. It's legal.
It's still-
you know, one
yeah.
thing is deemed, you know. If it's something protecting people and it's illegal, and he's like, I'll take it off the platform. Of course, freedom of speech is this guy can talk shit about you. You can even
Right.
put out false information. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like people are able to do that under freedom of speech. You know what I mean? And it's up to the person hearing it to be like, I'm going to believe that, or they're going to dig it and find the real facts.
I mean, our country was built on it.
It's
right?
so easy for accusations. You know, it's always accusation first, investigation second, which sucks. Because a lot of times the accusation's bullshit, and then once it gets investigated, like shootings and stuff like that, then the guy's like, "Oh, it was a good shoot," or the real thing is this. But it's too late. You've ruined someone's career. You've already swayed the public to vote a certain way, and they know that. That's why they say this rhetoric, these terrible things about their opponent or whatever, because they'll sway people in that moment. Like, "Oh, really? He is a Nazi," and you're like, "Well, no." Like, reality is, and I mean, it's politics it's not something I'd ever get into. but
I know.
It's wild.
But God, we need good people more now than fucking ever. You know?
I think
It's
America's
like-
been paying out so much money everywhere, and America's been taken advantage of for so many years. You know, all the wars that NATO is in, we supply majority of the money and the manpower, and it's like every other country should step in and should be equal. You know,
100%. Yeah. And then what really disheartens me is like this whole thing that just happened in North Carolina. Like,
Yeah.
we're not taking care of our own. Like, I got family down there. I have
nuts.
a ton of friends in Asheville.
but
and
they'll
it's
sign
like,
another bill to 60 billion, you know, whatever it is, 60 more million to Ukraine. They'll sign another like
and that's
It's
a,
like-
a fraction of what we've already sent them.
right.
It's not even like,
How about a fraction of that 60 million go to help everybody?
or in Maui,
know,
like
correct.
with the fires, like,
And even the fires up in Napa Valley, it took so long. Like people had insurance and they get their homes rebuilt, but I mean, it took 2 years, right, for them to get their insurance money to build a new home. How about have that money set aside to help them get a new home quickly, and then the insurance companies get paid back by the federal
they get
government?
reimbursed.
You know what I mean? But
That's a
have that
great
money
idea.
to do it.
Yeah.
Versus like, hey, like we don't have the money. The federal government's got to allot money here, here, and here, so you can get paid. And it's like 2 years later, dude.
Or how about people not having power or water they still don't have water, my family
Right.
there. That was a month ago almost, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know how they fix that outside of maybe flying in a helicopter with huge, you know, tanks until it gets fixed. Like,
or delivering it.
That's what I'm
man.
saying.
We deliver water.
Well, bottles,
we truck
but-
water here in Colorado to
you can have those
California.
you can have those. They can fly in tanks and drop a tank off, unlatch it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's wild. if we had there's resources. If we were allotting enough money to these resources, we'd have more helicopters. We'd have, we'd be able to help people faster and get things done sooner if there was more money in the resources. And they're available. It's the same thing with, we have ships and jets that are sitting there and they only need a little bit of work to run properly, and there's no money.
Or how about all the shit we left in Afghanistan, dude? Like,
That's all being sold.
Yeah.
You know what? The one good thing about that is the moment our enemies become more organized and then they start buying uniforms, and then we're like, okay, well, they know exactly who you are now. It's the same thing with ISIS. ISIS was like working among the people, and it was like, okay, well, guy could be ISIS, that guy could be ISIS, but they look the same. Then they started getting money and funding and being more organized, and then started using vehicles. Then they all got
next thing they all body armor.
The next thing they had their uniforms, right, and they were all dressing the same. We're like, okay, now we know exactly who you are. So the good thing about that is like when they all start dressing different but all the same, we know who our enemy is.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're running around with body armor and they have their own, black and gray jumpsuit, and you're like, okay, well, all right, you don't look like the rest of these people, so.
Yeah. No, I guess that's a great point, dude.
Oh wow, that's a really nice AR-15. I wonder where you got that.
Yeah, no joke. Yeah, it's wild, man.
Or when they're
rollerblading,
Mind blowing, dude. That's I don't even know what to say. I don't even know. Just a bunch of fruit booters. Yeah, a bunch of fruit booters. I think that's with the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. Or no, that's Afghanistan, huh? Yeah, that's in Kabul.
Those are all the old rollerblades that America decided as soon as they decided that it was gay to rollerblade, dude.
We should have brought our tanks back and just airdropped just rollerblades over the whole country. Tactical rollerblading. I just want to see this guy hit just a hole in the road.
Pothole.
That road's better than the roads in San Diego, dude.
I know.
Imagine being able to do this anywhere in America.
Look at our tax dollars. There's not a pothole on that road in Kabul. You go to Miramar Road where my shop's at, you can't even drive a classic car. You're getting your tires ripped off, oil pan holes in it, and the heck. Look what they did. They traded
the Charger, bro.
Good.
Like, I haven't even seen that.
When that's why I was laughing, because when I drove it on Miramar Road, like I had some work done on it. It hit a pothole and put a hole in the oil pan. So I had to I raised the front end, did a different oil pan. Yeah, that road's I could drive my Charger there completely fine. Except I'd probably hit an IED.
Dude, it gets so bad up here too. Like I-70, you'll be going, and it's like, fuck, did a mortar hit?
Well, like the ice gets down in there, and then it expands and it melts, and you just get chunks.
The roads just get fucked. Yeah. Then all the sand and shit that we put on.
Yeah. Oh, the AI stuff's wild.
Woo. Yeah, that shit scares me, dude.
You see that guy, you see the director, whatever, that did iRobot and tried to claim that Elon Musk copied him for his robots.
Really?
Like, okay, dude, shut up. You thought of something and you made a computer graphic image of it, and this guy did the real thing.
You're right.
Come on, it's like,
that actually works.
Yeah, he was talking about suing to get money from Elon Musk because they looked similar.
It trips me out, those dog things, like really
freak one the other day, and the other dog like wants to play with it, and it's it was wild, dude.
It was like a regular dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, I don't know, but we did this gig out at IBM. It was like a private thing, and some quantum computer fucking thing that they got going on. And the building is crazy, dude. It's like from 1960. Like Nixon was in there at one point. And you walk in, and the paint is just like impeccable, but it's all like that old like patina a little bit to it. It's just a weird building.
Yeah.
And it sits on this beautiful piece of property outside of White Plains, New York. But I swear to God, I'm like, if I see one of those robot dogs running around out there, dude, like
they feel like you might.
Yeah. Huge deer and turkeys and stuff all over that property.
Oh man,
super cool.
Talking to technology and cool stuff is like that level of flex that Israel did with the pagers. Oh. And then the next day with the radios.
Yeah.
So they must have, from the ordering, from Hamas ordering those, it went from A to get all that stuff put in them, and then to Hamas or Hezbollah.
Yeah.
And
that missile defense system that they have is incredible. Crazy too, right?
Right. It's wild, man. That's
wild. And they put it to the fucking test.
Oh, it's getting tested. Woo. Yeah. I mean, the fact that they're able to, fly a drone into Iran and launch, a projectile from that drone through a window is a big flex. Saying like, okay, guys, like,
You want to fuck
if
around.
you want to play, like we
Yeah.
already know exactly where you are at all times.
Yeah, it's wild.
That's nuts.
Yeah, look at these fucking things, dude.
The thing is, they just don't cuddle very well on the couch.
No, man. There's
And that's a part of owning a dog is like
they're
you
not
want-
excited to see you. Like,
right. I bet you could maybe like load that in there, like, hey, you're on your clear. Like, I want him to jump up and down and bark and can't even lick your leg, like, and then load that into the dog system.
I mean, at some point they'll have hair and skin, and it'll
Right,
be
it'll be,
like
like, real.
yeah, cyborg type.
That dog is freaked out. He doesn't like that.
I don't know what my dog would do. It would definitely be dog pees on it and gets electrocuted.
There's something about like that human connection with a dog. Like when I come
course.
home from like a trip, and I'm sure you get this with Crow, but like they're so excited more than
That's
my
a great
own
saying.
kids
One
are.
of my best friends in the world.
Like my
dog.
healer starts doing backflips and
Yeah.
pissing everywhere,
Yeah.
dude. She just
Stoked.
fucking. I'm like,
Well, if you break it down, right? If your dog lives, I forgot what I did the math at some point. It's like 8 hours is like, I forgot, like, or 1 hour is like 7 hours to a dog.
right.
Right. If you break down if you do like, okay, a dog lives, let's say 12 years, a human lives 80 years, you do that breakdown, it's like an hour for a human is like seven to eight for a dog.
So it must feel like
So you think like in an 8 hour, you're sleeping for 8 hours. It's been a fucking week for them, whatever that is, whatever,
Yeah.
7 times, anyway, 8 hours times 8 times 8, whatever that is. Fucking, anyway, someone's got 60.
Yeah.
I was about to say that right before you. You got to think in the morning, the dog's been asleep for like a fucking week, dude. And he's so stoked to see you, half week, like jazzed. So when you go on a 3-day trip, he's like, oh, it's been months since I saw my man. You know what I mean? They're just jazzed.
I thought you were dead. You know.
Well, yeah, I
like,
think like I always feel that way. Like I'm leaving my dog. I'm like, oh man, I fucking love you so much. Like, and now he knows. Like now he's like, oh, Dad's coming back. He's matured enough. But I think the first 2 times when I'm leaving, he was like, you're leaving me. And you're breaking my heart. You know what I mean? So now I come home and he's like, yeah, you're home. He's stoked. But I always just take him with
rad.
me. Oh my
Crow's-
gosh! Did I tell
Crow's
you?
fucking
Did I
awesome,
tell you a
dude.
story we shit in business class?
No.
Oh man, like I was a quick trip home to Northern California to go to see my mom, and like my dog has flown probably 35, 40, 50 times with me. He flies all over. Excellent. Knows.
Do you
what-
have to buy him a seat or how does
No,
that-
because he's a service dog. He's a full service dog. He just lays on the floor in front of me. We go to the airport. I go to work, leave work early afternoon. It's on Friday. Go to the airport. We're there. Get on the plane. I'm in like 4C next to the window. The guy next to me he was a trauma surgeon that works like 3 days up in Santa Rosa. Awesome guy. We're chatting, and Crow's laying there. We end up sitting on the runway for like 40 minutes, not taking off for some reason. And Crow starts panting, and he starts getting up, and it's like moving a little bit, and he's panting. I'm like, damn it, I can tell he needs to pee. And I'm like, damn it, dude, like, oh, he's got to pee. And he starts like pushing me with his face, and I'm like, oh, I was like, dude, he's got to go to the bathroom. He's like, damn, like, we can't turn the plane around. I was like, shoot. I was like, well, maybe he'll pee in the bathroom on the plane, because in Vegas, in Vegas, I taught him like I can take him and put him in the shower or the bathtub, and he'll pee in there, so I can wash it
really?
down. Instead of, because when you're in your room,
Yeah.
like you got to hike a mile out to go find a bush at the casino.
Oh, and if you're there in the summer, dude,
you know what I
like,
mean, you're going
yeah,
all the way down through the casino to find a bush out in front of the casino, and then all the way back. It's too much. So I taught him to pee in the tub so he can spray it off, right? So I'm like, maybe he'll pee in the bathroom. Maybe he'll just get that sense he's in the bathroom. So the moment we take off, I get up, take the dog up to the bathroom, open the door, like pick the dog up. I'm like, I don't even know what people are gonna think. Like, get in the little bathroom with Crow, like shut the door, put him down. He's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, just pee, dude. I know you gotta pee. And he's like, just staring at me, like, damn it. Like, I flush the toilet. Maybe the sound will help him. You know what I mean? He's just like, what are you doing, idiot? I'm like, oh, just pee, dude. I know you gotta pee. Won't pee. It's like, damn. So I open the door. I go back. He's in front of me, and he like won't go into the seat. The guy stands up. I turn around to pull him in, and he just shits, and it's spray like diarrhea, boom, all over the floor. It's like up against people's, like the guy across from me, the chair. There's 2 seats on one seat, one side, small plane on the other. And I'm like, oh my God. And like I grab him to turn him, and I'm walking him up toward the front, because there's a rubber area where the main door is. And he's like, choo, choo, and he's just shitting, boom, boom, all the way up. We get up by there, he like shits 3 more small ones, and he just puts his head in the corner of shame. And I was just like, I just looked back, and there's like little like mushy shit piles.
Oh
and
my
then,
God.
I mean, the main pile was a good 10 inches
Were
across.
people cool or were they
Dude,
fucking
so I turned
assholes?
to the lady's up there like getting drinks ready, and I was like, hey, I was like, my dog pooped. And she's like, oh, it's okay. And she hands me a paper towel like it's a clump. You know what I mean? And I was like, I'm going to need a couple rolls.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh my God. And so she looks back and she was just like, oh my God. And so she just grabs a stack of paper towels. I was like, Crow, stay here. He wouldn't even look up. He knew he'd really fucked up, you know? And that paper towels, trash bags. The guy next to me hopped up immediately, the trauma surgeon. He's helping like clean it all up. Like awesome guy.
Oh,
it's in the
badass.
cracks. You know the arrows that light up in case of emergency. Like
They
there's
probably grounded that plane,
There's
dude.
poop on the
They had
arrows.
to.
Like the lady finds like cleaner. I look back and the first people in economy are like this, like staring at me like I'm just an idiot. Like it smelled like bad. Like people were just covering their faces like this, and I'm cleaning like this. And I'm just like shaking my head. I'm like, oh my God, like of course, And I look up and there's this big old cowboyish guy, and he's drinking she had like gotten people drinks while we're cleaning, like drinking Jack and Coke, and he's like, that sucks. And he starts laughing. I was just like, yeah, dude, yeah, a lot. It takes us like 20 minutes. We're like spraying stuff, and it still smelled, but not as bad. And I sit down. Crow's ashamed. I was like, Crow. He won't even look at me like the whole trip, I was like, hey, can I like buy drink tickets for everybody or something like that? And the lady was super nice. She's like, no, you took care of it. I was like, dude, okay. I get off. We go get our bag. He poops in the parking lot a little bit. Get in the car, go home. I'm sleeping on the couch at my mom's house. And he's like bugging me. And I'm like, dude, knock it off. I'm trying to sleep. And I hear something and I was like, no. And I flicked the light on. He backed his ass up to my mom's fridge and just shit again all the way down the corner of the fridge, all over the floor. And I was just like
13s, bro. It happens in 13s. 13 piles
I
of
opened
shit.
the door, just hung my head, dude. And I was like, just go play in the street, dude. The highway's over there. Go play dead in the highway.
God.
Oh, it was wild.
That's fucking classic, dude.
It was wild. I just it was just beyond embarrassing is not even the word. I was just like, I just accepted it. I was just like, it's gonna happen.
There's not much you can do. Yeah. I had one of my first, I think it was my son. We were on a flight and he projectile vomited over probably 10 people, dude, on the back of their heads and everywhere, dude. He was like a little baby, but it's like, what do? There's fucking nothing.
Open the hatch.
Yeah.
Whee!
Yeah. We're grounding the plane because of mechanical reasons, dude. Fuck.
Oh yeah, that was bad, man.
Yeah. And it was I think the back wheels were still on the ground.
They turned it around, man. It was a lot of poop.
Yeah. I've seen some crazy shit on some flights, man. Just crazy people.
I've never gone through too bad turbulence or seen anything too crazy, but those videos where they hit turbulence and you're like, how do the wings not break off? Like people are getting thrown in the air and stuff, man.
Dude, I was on a Delta flight. I was coming back. I was on tour with Kanye. We were ending the tour. And so we had to go transatlantic. I think we ended in Germany or Ireland. Doesn't matter. Anyways, I had a connection flight from Atlanta to LAX.
Yeah.
So the Rock Doc prescribed me Ambient.
Yeah. Oh, man.
And so I take an Ambient. I was sitting in a shit seat behind the wing, dude.
Yeah.
And so I pop an Ambient, and then one of my roadie buddies was flying back to LA with me. He was in front of me in the seat. I'm in the window seat. So I take the Ambient, time it perfect, order the glass of red wine.
Yeah.
And, or no, I didn't have red wine because we hadn't even taken off. So we're starting to take off, and I'm looking out the window, and I'm like, this is fucking strange. Everything's orange. I was like, maybe it's the side of the plane was on fire. One of the engines shit out and started on fire, but all I could see was
the orange glow.
The orange glow.
No.
Yeah. So I'm like, dude, I'm trying to wake him up. He's passed out, of course, dude. And I'm like,
you already took an Ambien.
what the fuck, dude? Am I tripping right now? And I look up the aisle and just all the call lights are on that side of the
yeah. Bing, 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 bing.
Yeah. And then the pilot comes out and is running down the aisle, looking out. He's like, what'd you see? What'd you see? Everybody's like, fire, 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 fire. And we're like, oh, fuck, this is getting real, dude. So then we started flying around Atlanta, the city, right?
Trying to land?
No, just see what's up. They shut the engine down. There was no more fire. And we're flying around. And then they're like, as you can see, we need everybody to be calm and patient. We don't know what we're dealing with. We're trying to figure it out. We're trying to talk to ground control. So you're not going to hear anything from us for a little while, but we'll keep you posted. So we were low enough that everybody was using their cell phones, like
Oh,
just
yeah.
texting like, I love you. But everybody was like, kind of like just super calm, dude. Like it was weird.
Sure.
And it was this uneasy, like kind of quiet, a few people like tearing up or whatever. And I'm like, fuck, dude, I just took drugs.
I want to be asleep for the best shit.
I think I texted my mom and sisters or whatever. It was like, hey, I love you.
I'm going to
like,
do the long sleep.
So we're flying around, and then all of a sudden they fly us out like to the country, dude. Like now we're flying around. I'm like, oh fuck.
Well,
this
right,
is bad.
if you land in an urban, a bunch of homes, you kill other people. So if you land in the forest, you just kill a couple of deer.
Yeah,
And everybody on
and
board.
everybody on board, dude.
Well, you might live if you're in the back.
Dude, I was thankful I was sitting in the back of that because
That's where people live the most, is the very back.
What's that comedian that says, I've never seen an airplane back into a mountain?
Probably like Bill Burr or something like that.
Yeah. He's like, I always sit in the back.
There's some crazy stories of people
But we
living.
started seeing like news helicopters show
Yeah.
up and stuff. I'm like, oh God. And then
Like, we're going to get this.
we had
And
to do
meanwhile,
the
you're nodding off because you're on Aviation.
Help.
So
Red
we do
Bulls.
the whole spray down runway,
Yeah.
fucking down the ramp,
Damn.
had to leave our bags, like foam all over my shoes.
They pulled the
and
doors
things.
so you could slide down.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I've always wanted to do that,
I
man.
was kind of stoked that when we
I
actually
sit in
made
that
it on the
seat
ground.
just so I can pull that, hopefully one day. I'm surprised no one pulled that when my dog shit everywhere.
Yeah, no shit.
Oh, this smell is bad. Doosh. The dog gets sucked out.
So after all that, we get bussed to like the Delta counter,
Yeah.
Delta customer service, and they have like some cleaning stuff there or whatever, right? Like to clean the foam off you or whatever.
Yeah.
Like the fire department's out there. They're all laughing, like
had a good
it's
time.
Like, yeah.
They finally got
They
used.
finally got to do something,
Yeah.
They were all stoked. And Delta's like, hey, we're so sorry for the inconvenience. We're going to give you all $400 vouchers. And everybody's like collectively, fuck you.
Yeah, but-
yeah. So
Yeah, I don't know,
I just
man.
went straight to another counter and bought a
Here's
ticket home,
here's your
but it was,
Jersey
like,
mics.
crazy.
Sorry for the delay.
But that happened. The same thing happened to me on Romanian Air, but I was sitting
Yeah.
in the front of the plane, dude, and that was another.
Yeah,
gnarly
there's a couple books. I forgot the name of the book, and all it talks about is people who lived from airplane crashes. And there was like this little girl in this plane broke up over the jungle in South America, and the little girl woke up in her seat with a broken leg. What? Yeah, from whatever 25, 30,000 foot drop. It's wild.
That's crazy.
They found her. I think she like was hiking out or something. They found
Well,
her.
think about like Led Zeppelin, dude. That's what I think about, man.
Yeah.
I'm like, how did all those guys survive?
I didn't even know the size of that plane. It's like
I guess the only guy that died was standing up in the plane and happened to be the lead singer or some shit.
he's
It was
like this. He's like, I'm riding this in.
Oh, dude. Some of the craziest flights I've ever been on are those charter planes with bands and stuff, Like,
Yeah.
okay, this flight we're all wearing no pants. The
Just
entire
be
flight.
having a good old time, but he's drinking on board.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's cool because you have the same flight crew, so they knew me. They would have like a 6-pack of Stella sitting on my tray table
Ready to
because you
go.
have the same seat,
Yeah.
everything like before takeoff. Like,
Yeah, there's
pretty
that.
awesome. Wow,
Yeah,
that's cool. I'll have to check this book out.
Oh shoot, man. Yeah, I'm not sure which book it'd be. You'd have to look up.
Well,
Either
fuck,
way.
dude. Let's end on plane crashes, man.
Yeah.
We've been at it for a while. I don't want to keep. We got to get down to bare knuckle. That's going on tonight. Shout out to Chris.
Kamazi, Brandon Gertz.
Yeah,
man.
let's
I'm
go,
sponsoring
Gertz.
those dudes. Incredible people.
That's so rad.
Be hunting next year a lot. Me and I started a small business in Alaska and with a couple buddies. One's
Another
a pilot,
one?
so we got a plane, picked up a Super Cub, so
No
we'll
way.
be able to do really. And I'll have a film guide, a videographer next year for all my hunts, which will be.
Can
cool.
I ask you something real quick before we take off? I know the last couple times we talked, everything that happened with your dad and brothers.
Yeah.
Did you get up to the
So
prop? Or?
no, it's still sitting. What I wanted to do, I wanted to get out there and bring my mom and one of my dad's best friends, but I'm gonna go out there first and make sure it's not buried in rocks because it's a gnarly hillside where they crashed and died, and over time there's rock slides. So I want
Erosion,
to go in there at least, find it, make sure pull it out, set it up there, and then be able to fly my mom in. We'll land the helicopter, hike up, and bring the prop back. So last time I went up there was like there's too much snow still, so I just need to get up there and like late July, August, I think, and then the snow will have mounted up that hillside. So still gonna do it, but
Hell yeah.
that'll be cool next
All
year.
right. Let me know if you need any help,
Absolutely,
dude. I'm
dude.
down.
Yeah,
Yeah. Anything else you want to drop before we can jump
just
off, dude?
working. You'll move into our new place. We'll work on.
Go to Half Face Blades.
Yeah.
If you're living under a rock and you're not already following them on Instagram or You know what the website is or anything like that? Yeah, Gert's up
He's
there.
wearing his half-face stuff.
Yeah,
halffacebblades.com with Instagram half-face, and then the wine is warpaw.com.
Canoe Club USA.
Canoe Club, DEF CON.
Yeah. DEF CON's dropping geese or something?
Today already. Everything's dead.
Oh, fuck,
Everything's
it's gone.
done, sold out.
Never mind.
Yeah, gone. But
Sorry,
always working on,
wait a couple of years.
The guys, guys who really run that, like Birdo and Jeff, like the most incredible dudes. I mean, Birdo, built Supreme to what it is. Those guys are real incredible guys. And DEF CON's one of those things that's like, you can't get it. Like, good luck. Make the shoes. If you don't get one, secondary market's the only possible
there's
place.
guys that are size 12 that are buying size 8 just so they can have them.
To try to find somebody to trade.
Yeah.
I found, I had pulled some pairs, and I looked in the box yesterday, the day before yesterday. I have a box of a few extra pairs. I'll do some giveaways with them coming up.
Oh, sweet.
And I had a pair of 11.5s, and they ended up fitting Chris.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so I brought him a pair. The rest I have common sizes. I think
That's
like
badass.
9.5 to 10.
You got any 13s?
No, that's
Damn
like I only had I pulled like 4 pairs early on for some of the guys who wanted a pair, like some of my SEAL buddies. But those are the hard ones to get, like 6, 7, 12, 13. Like,
Yeah.
you can find them secondary market, but you're paying arm and
Oh,
leg,
dude,
but-
it's ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
so
crazy.
you got Brandon Gertz, Chris Camozzi.
Hell yeah.
They're fighting tonight, so
It's going to be a good time.
it'll be awesome. Good guys.
And then what's the new name, or do you want to drop the new name of is it an outfitter business or what? Okay.
No, not yet. I'm not ready
Okay.
to.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll do it
That'd be
again.
cool.
You're welcome here anytime, dude. I love
Appreciate
having
it.
you in. I appreciate everything that you've done for me, the amazing blades, the fucking friendship, first and foremost, but also helping me grow this and saying yes
man,
to
you're
this,
just
man.
killing
Like,
it,
I know
man.
you get hit up a lot and it means a lot. Your
Yeah,
time and everything, dude.
I'm not a big podcaster. I think it's really good for a business and talk about it and everything. I just don't like the sound of my own voice. I know people,
Yeah.
a lot of people are like that, but
I struggle
know.
with it too, honestly, man.
it does well when I do like a little video for Instagram and I talk about the knives. It always does well, and people are like, hey, we like this content, and so I need to do more of it. But I like to be out hunting.
I like
Just
hanging
talking,
out with you, dude.
you know.
So yeah, no, I really appreciate your time making the trip up here today. I know it's not close, dude.
Yeah, it's
and
awesome, beautiful
coming in.
little town.
You're welcome here anytime, dude. I'd love to show you around when you
Yeah.
have some more time. So
Yeah. Well, you get to San Diego and we'll.
Oh,
new
I'll
spot
be
will
out
fun.
there.
We'll shoot some guns.
I'm not gonna hit you up
Yeah.
if I'm not out there.
Yeah,
So,
for
if
sure.
I'm not. All right. Thanks everybody for listening. Jeremy, take us away. Thanks, Beto.
Thanks for listening to the Mountainside Podcast. If you haven't had a chance to do this already, please take a moment, follow, like, subscribe, or rate on whatever platform you catch the Mountainside Podcast at. If you'd like some more information on upcoming episodes, safety tips, access to all of our affiliates, and all the badass discounts that we get here at the Mountainside Podcast, check out themountainsidepodcast.com.